We'll get into the preview and back with you very shortly.
Yeah, the first race on the program, Emily, thank you, is the Win the Group 2 Waikato Guinea steeplechase over 3,900 metres. Great to have you with us this morning on the Punters Lounge Live, brought to you by Valachi Downs, the Stallions Zakinto and US Navy flag. We're wishing them all the best coming to the new breeding season. It's a wonder, $1.95 and $1.10 is the favourite in the first on the program. Nasal Strip goes on Shamal, $3.80, the winner of 3 from 6 on the track and gets a kilo off his back. $4.60 the Arabian Duke, and Henry Tudor is at $6.50. 3,900 metres is the trip of the first on the program here. Stephen Hunt, money-wise, just the 5 runners. Can you give us some confidence around It's a Wonder?
Yeah, plenty of confidence around It's a Wonder, who broke the maiden status over the chase last start by a little over 12 lengths. So money reinvesting around It's a Wonder. I think the weight relief, considering it's carrying 65V, Shamal with 71 gets that 1 kg claim with Buddy Lummis doing the riding. That's where the punters have gone, saying that Shamal is not friendless. It's clearly the second best bat runner. A lot of support just in the last hour or so around Shamal. Has a fantastic record at Te Rapa. So that's the two that stand out. A little bit of specking for our Countess at $13, but overall the prices dictate that the winner will come out around about a 75% chance from the top two in the market. But as it stands, they're pretty keen on It's a Wonder, but Shamal not friendless in the last hour or so.
Emily, It's a Wonder opened at $1.90, got out to $2, back into $1.95. Is that your sort of price to start the day?
It is actually. I'm making it my bet of the day, so I'm striking early and hopefully getting us off to a winning start here at Te Rapa. If you have a little look at the replay of this horse, this is obviously not the whole race, but just sort of the closing stages. It's a Wonder was lengths and lengths in front of the rest of the field. He maintained that really strong, fluid gallop throughout the entire event last time and continued that all the way to the line. He was lengths better than the rest of the field, and I just think with that weight relief, he's going to be able to repeat that today. Shamal, being sort of his main contender, does have to lump around 72 kilos, with Buddy's claim 71 kilos compared to It's a Wonder's 65. So I just think with that class factor, and they've got totally different styles of racing. It's a Wonder is quite keen, races up on speed, as we saw at that last start, dragging the rider into the race, whereas Shamal sits at the back of the field. And if It's a Wonder can maintain that gallop, then it's going to be very, very hard to run down, especially with the big weight. So It's a Wonder for me, making it my bet of the day, hoping to get off to a winning start, Matt.
$1.95, we'll take that and run, Emily. Thank you. That's the first on the card. Over to race number 2 on the program as we flick the page. Dunstan Horse Feed Steeplechase. This one is over 3,900 metres also. Good field assembled in the second on the program. We're in fact heading to race number 5 on the card. Sultan of Swing, $2.30 is the race favourite here. Getting a little bit ahead of myself. Taiki Anageta claims a couple of kilos off the 62.94 Andoyas. This seems to be the battle of the day in terms of head-to-head battles. Stephen Hunt's, what are your thoughts?
Interesting runner, number 1, Sultan of Swing. It's won against the betting trend. Very cold in its last 2 starts when it's won at Te Rapa, third up here, and punters thinking that it's time to get on now. So it's one of those catch-22s. Are they too late, or will they be investing on Sultan of Swing and getting a result when winning 3 in a row at Te Rapa? So that has been the best bat runner. It opened at $2.60 during the week, Matt. It's down to $2.30 and holds 3 times more money than Andoyas, $2.80 out to $2.90. So at this stage, not saying Andoyas is cold, but at this stage, out of the 2 favourites, Sultan of Swing holds 3 times more money than Andoyas. He's Cavalier, look, hasn't won for a dozen odd starts, so punters getting a little bit tight around He's Cavalier, $5.50 out to 6. Hey Tiger, also a notable drifter, 6 out to 7. There's one at the end of the market that's been spec'd. It has been Crafty Jess from the Baker Forsman stable at a double-figure price at $11. But your lead is round number 1, Sultan of Swing.
Yeah, Crafty Jess getting back onto a wet track may aid her. What about the speed map here with both Admiral and He's Cavalier likely to go forward? Sultan of Swing and Andoyas settling back here. Emily, a race that we discussed in depth on the show yesterday. Bevan Sweeney gave a huge push for Andoyas. Are you in the Andoyas camp, or are you thinking Sultan of Swing will go again?
It's a really tricky one, isn't it? Part of me thinks that Andoyas can do the job. That weight relief is just sort of too much to ignore, isn't it? You're looking at 52 kilos of Andoyas compared to 58 kilos with their claims. So Andoyas certainly has the swing in that regard. And I think the way it maps out, perhaps Andoyas is going to be able to stalk Sultan of Swing and kind of have the last run at him. Sultan of Swing is very hard to ignore, though. You've got 3 from 3 at the Te Rapa track. It does have the claim still, so it comes down to 58. 38, has had the measure of Andoyas previously, so why can't it do it again? And I just have a slight concern over Andoyas' record. He can chuck in a bad one, but looking at them crossing the line in that replay, there's very little between them, isn't there? So on our card here at Te Rapa, I reckon it's a real match race between those two, Andoyas and Sultan of Swing. Can they reverse the form, or will Sultan of Swing be able to hold on with the big weight?
Yeah, it's going to be a race that many of us are looking for an answer to, and Andoyas and Sultan of Swing looking forward to that race number 5. That is at 21 minutes after 2. A couple of time changes there for if you printed your race books earlier on in the week. Race number 5 going from 2:19 to 2:21. Let's head to race number 7 on the card today out of Te Rapa on the meeting code of 2. Don't Doubt Me is the race favourite. This one for Vinnie Colgan and Wayne Hillis off the back of a very good second last time to the races. Stephen Hunt, this is where I bring you in because it's one of those markets where I need your help.
Not sure I can help strongly in this particular race. There's 4 or 5 they've tended to back. Like I said at the top of the show, Wellback Commodity has been nutty. Currently shares that second line of betting with low profile and Bell Tem at $6 each at 3. Don't Doubt Me, if there was a slight lead just in the last hour or so since we came to air, Matt, has been round number 5, Don't Doubt Me. Rated its highest career to date, even though it ran second last start. So still a progressive type, and No Doubt Me, and dropping back to the 1400. Crystallised stepping up to 1400. A little bit of a question mark, but Punters pretty keen at the double figure price earlier in the week, 10 into 7. So that, again, there's one that they're shopping in this middle market. We'll see that up and down the country today. A lot of horses spec'd in that teen price. And also Grand Ariana, who was well supported 2 weeks ago in single markets and also pick sixes. Grand Ariana might be one just to keep a little bit of faith on, has been spec'd in particular in the last 30 minutes. 8.50, got as high as 9.50 back into $9. But yeah, there's 4 or 5 without any strong lead that have been well supported in the first leg at the pick 6 at Te Rapa.
You heard Alan Choke this morning on the starting gates with LB Gain and Peter Early, giving Bell Tem a decent push. Came to Te Rapa looking for a better track, and he said that she has a solid each-way chance. Let's have a look at the early speed here with our Form Pro speed map. Likely tempo is even here. Straight sets set to go forward, looking for him to try and hit a bit of form. Crystallise and Itchy Barn with a bit of speed out wide as well. Looks as though straight sets might get a relatively easy lead here, Emily.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? I was pretty keen on Crystallise in this event. It's a real head scratcher. It's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? The sun to keep you awake at night. But if there is a horse that you like, you can definitely sort of get yourself some value with regards to that market being so open. Crystallise, as I mentioned, pushing forward from the barrier. I can see it being quite competitive. Has been freshened marginally. Had last raced on the 29th of May, so been off the track for sort of around that 3 weeks. Brings Polly Grey form. Now, later on in our card, Polly Grey is a well-fancied favourite. It's bringing that form, and I think that I'm hoping that that form will be able to stack up. As you can see in this replay, was just run down late last start. Looked all but home as the winner, Polly Grey, just manages to get the better of it. So I really liked the form that I saw on the board, and sticks to that rating 65 again, and was competitive here last time. So why couldn't it do exactly the same again? And look at it in the finish here. There's barely a margin between Polly Grey and Crystallise, and I'm hoping without Polly Grey in the race that perhaps it can be Crystallise's day, and it's a pretty good price as well if you're looking to have a little bit of an investment. Bell Tem was a real good value bet for me as well. Bell Tem, Taki Yanagida takes 2 kilos off the back of this horse. What you don't see in this replay is that the horse blundered at the start, sort of almost went down on its knees, ended up detached from the field at the back, and was able to work home really strongly to get up for a solid run into 4th. And I just thought that had a lot of credential with regards to moving forward. It's fit, placed once at the 1400 metres previously, and even better is Pincanto out of that race, came out and won at Hawke's Bay just a couple of days ago. So that form franked once again. So Bell Tem and Crystallise go in the mix for me there in that 7th on the card.
Yeah, really liking your thoughts around Bell Tem. Emily ran the quickest sectionals of the day there, coming from last at Hastings. So the Alan Sherrick factor, 3 runs under its belt and a claim off its back of a very much informed Taiki Yanagida may help in what is a very, very even field. Over to race number 8 on the program, the Stephanos at Navara Park 1600. This is Polly Grey, $3.10. Plenty of form around her. She was so good to the races last time, a daughter of Azamore. 1600 metres, it might not stop there for her. Form around Falkirk last Wooden Edge. He's $4.80. Money Trail $7.50, and Tweedledee, who gets back to rating 72 from a couple of runs behind LIR, Admiral and Very Flash, and gets back left-handed as well, which may be a factor. What's the action like around the Grey Mare by Azamore here, Stephen? We speak of Polly Gray. She's been very good in her last couple.
Very good, and a lot of people, as I mentioned at the top of the show, left her out of the pick six and cost them a couple of weeks ago. I don't think they'll be doing that era today, Polly Gray. Saying that, she's not a clear loner, even though she's trading at $3.10 off a peak of $4 during the week. There's a couple that I've spec just in the last 24 hours, Maddie. Wooden Edge, 420 out to 480. Happy to lay this horse today. I wouldn't be surprised if it touched $5 later on this afternoon. Drawn the ace and stepping up in grade. A lot of its ratings, or best ratings, have been over 2,000 metres in the last 18 months. And even though it's running to 1,600 metres, that's where I'm looking to lay that potential Wooden Edge. Tweedledee, well supported, even though with the claim and top weight combo, $9.50 into $7. That's one horse in the last 24 hours, been well supported to beat the fave. Also Money Trail, $9.50 down to $7.50, 2 points inwards, dropping back in grade. And Truman, I know you lads are pretty keen on this horse yesterday morning on the first call. Truman opened at 14, got as high as 16, brought back into $14. Just forget it went round at Tauranga. A lot of horses that haven't copped Tauranga in the last 2 months or so. So Truman has been well specced, as has Scaglione, if you want to include one right outside the door at $21.
Could be a tricky leg of pick six if you're not willing to angle out Polly Gray into $3.10. Let's have a look at the speed map, because this might be a big factor in this race. Polly Gray and Tweedledee with decent barrier draws to work with. I thought the Grand Rio might punch across. He's had enough runs under his belt that he might be able to strike a little bit of form. Wooden Edge, Scaglione with good runs distant behind them, and Midnight Story will be looking to slot in. I think you were pretty keen on Money Trail here, Emily, is that correct?
I sure was. I thought Money Trail was a really good value bet, and I've included it in my picks a little bit later on. A successful combination, Sam Spratt, Brendan Horton. They had a winner on Wednesday with So Much More, and they're looking to strike again here with Money Trail. Having a first try at the 1,600 metres, but that doesn't look to be any issue. Made up really good ground last time, and won when led up at Te Rapa. Here's a look at Polly Gray, though, who's the real talk horse of the race. And Michael Coleman jumps back on, having ridden it 3 starts ago, has won 2 of its past 3, and look at it come down the outside of the track here. Just a query for me was it flattered by being on the best part of the track? But having won 2 of its past 3, you'd think that it was just hit some pretty good form and find similar conditions. This is not really any different from the rating 72 at a mile that it won on the 6th of July at this track. So everything sort of lines up for Polly Gray, and you'd be foolish to ignore the number 6 in this, the Big Grey. Just wondered if it was better off speed when it finished 5th 2 starts ago. Did sit sort of handy, but those 2 wins, they've come when Polly Gray's been sort of produced from off speed. Is that going to make it a little bit tricky for Polly Gray? And does it, in an open event, open it up for something else to strike? Money Trail was the one for me that I thought perhaps could cause an upset. And as Stephen was saying, Truman as well looks like a really nice chance in that 8th on the card over the mile.
Yeah, I'll be having Grand Rio on my pick 6 ticket as well. Just thought with a bit of a weight drop from a couple of starts ago and what should be a decent form reference in the Baker Forsman factor, Darren Dennis doing the riding, a must-have on your tickets. OK, let's head across to race number 9 on the card. This is the last out of Te Rapa. The boys get paid. Battlers Cup over 2,200 metres. Very Flash $3, $5.50 for Suleiman. Wrangler $7.50. The Aries at $6, and Sweet Treat is at $5.50. What's happening here in the last of the day, Stephen?
Incredibly even, Matt. Probably the even in terms of goes up and down Te Rapa today. Very Flash rated a 33% chance, $3 on option 637 to take out the last, stepping over 2,000 metres after 4 runs at the mile. So looks a sense of timing around Very Flash, and saying that it's not a clear lead in terms of best back run, even though it sits at the top line of betting. Suleiman well supported at $5.50. A Sweet Treat, as I mentioned at the top of the show when we went through the legs of pick 6, has been the market move in this particular event over the 2,200 metres, 8 into $5.50. The Harris very solid at $6. A Wrangler's been well supported at $7.50, and even a couple spec right at the bottom include Pecoris, Francis Drake, and even the Shackler has been well supported, 100 to 1 into $71, Matt. So the easy way to play the pick 6 in this particular race would be taking the field, but I'm not sure if people will have enough funds to do that. So interesting race, no clear lead as yet.
Yeah, well, with track pattern-wise during the day and how races are unfolding, I'm sure we might be able to sneak a little bit of market confidence maybe heading toward that last race. OK, Emily, here's the speed map for the last on the program. The Shackler, obviously coming back from jumping races, may punch forward. As a boy probably gets its chance to come across as well. Not a whole lot of speed here, but by this stage of the day, you wouldn't imagine that they'll be going breakneck speed over the 2200 anyway.
You certainly wouldn't, and we've just got a shower passing over the track again, so things really getting pretty bleak and miserable here at Rapa. Very flash. You'd be foolish to ignore it. It's got that really unlucky last start, as we can have a look at here. Rowena Smythe was on that day and just was unable to sort of be able to get clear running when it was required. Ended up having to be checked and was then just not able to get really back into a rhythm and kind of met a wall of horses. So it's hard to know what Very Flash could have done if given the opportunity, but still comes home really nicely and has been knocking on the door to get that another win up to the 2200 metres. Looks ideal. Loved the way it hit the line last time. Rebecca Scott takes the reins this time, taking over from Rowena Smythe. Rebecca Scott with a 3 kilo claim, and as we talked about yesterday, she's been in really good form. She rode a double on Wednesday, and she can be so effective with that claim in good form, especially on the heavy conditions. Outside of Very Flash, well, I've put in the Heiress. I've also put in Suleiman, and over the page I did go with Sweet Treat as well. A last start winner. Confidence is up. Senior jockey on. So just one for me to chuck in as well.
Fantastic, Emily. Well, I'm a generous man. Here's $100. What can you do with it to try and make us some money today?
Well, I was going to go 60 on the nose in race 1 and hope that It's a Wonder can get home in front for me. That'll put me ahead, and then I might have $10 each way on the number 7 Bell 10, and then $10 each way race 8 number 3 Money Trail as well. So it's pretty much my best bet and my value bets combined, and I'm hoping that that can make us a little bit of cash and get me ahead for this day at Rapa.